This is the tricep stretch. First, I put my elbow at least about 30 degrees, maybe no more. That's a good angle. And my scapula is doing what's called a posterior tilt. There's a lot of arc in my back right now. It's almost like I'm just puffing my chest out forward, very proud. And the hand of the arm that's getting stretched also is flexed down towards the elbow. So all this is important to create tension along the triceps. And I'll also basically just be resisting with the triceps. So it's almost like I'm trying to throw a ball as far as I can to my right. I want a lot of grip on the floor for this next stretch, and I also want to make sure I'm not going to damage the wall. Luckily, these darker brown pieces don't damage easily. Okay, here's the lat stretch, and I create length by getting into 3 different sorts of positions. One is just rounding the spine, so I've got to be able to do a pretty decent squat sort of motion, and also tilting the hips out and then moving my arm away, allowing my arm to be pulled by that stick, but also resisting with a little bit of force so I can get a decent feel in my resistance stretch here. So I want to feel it all along the one side of my back, and not too much in the spine, and definitely not too much either in the shoulder blade, but just a nice smooth stretch right throughout the back. In order to avoid complication, I just do both stretches. So I do the stretch for one side and the other as I go through this routine. And this stretch basically needs me to be pulling my shoulder blade down and away from my spine. That's a key factor. This stretch is for the rhomboids. They're a little higher up than the lats, right between your shoulder blades. And I'm making sure that the arm that is getting pulled is up about 10 or so degrees. And I even grab a foam roller so I can push off the wall a little more. But if I had less stuff around the doorway, I might just kind of walk over to the left side of the screen a little more. This one's for the external rotator. I'm going to demonstrate how much torsion I'm using with the torso. So it's kind of like a stop sign when you're riding the bike. And again, the shoulder blade is pretty handy here. You push it down and it's coming in towards the spine this time. So it's like you're pulling it in towards the spine and down, anchoring yourself into this stretch. The hamstrings are much bigger than these forearm muscles, the flexors. So I just ease up on intensity so I can hold the same pose for the same amount of time. I basically just anchor this time for how much it is for the hamstrings. And here I'm putting my toes away from midline a little bit, and I'm demonstrating here how my back is curved quite a bit to really get a deep stretch with the hamstrings. This is just to demonstrate how the lifting strap is put on. So it's almost like it funnels out. It feeds into itself. And anyway, I reach in here and it's almost like this is a different finger or something like that. It goes right between my first finger and thumb. And I'm going to grab one way, but it's going to grab the other way. One last point is that it is then going to be wound towards my thumb. So not the pinky finger, and then I just make sure it's tight. This will prevent my wrist from getting tired while I hold these stretches. This is another way of doing these stretches. I'm using a seat belt that has a knot on it, and I just shut the door on it. So the knot's on the other side underneath the doorknob so I can get deep into this lat stretch. I'll get above the doorknob for the rhomboids. And I'm still using a roller because I want to maintain distance. Again, there's lots of stuff around my door. Otherwise, I might just angle myself a little bit. But here for the rhomboid stretch, I just make sure to close the door with the knot well behind. And I don't want the door coming to flip out on me or something like that. So it's at a pretty strong point. And this is just another method to do it if you have little equipment. So I have my thumb pointed down for the right side of my body in a lat stretch, and this one I can really only afford so much space here, but the left thumb goes up for the left side rear delt stretch, And this is important, which way the thumb is oriented, which way the hand is oriented, to get a deeper stretch. And for the rhomboids, the same thing. I make sure to push off of the other side, which in this case is the door.